Hmm? This? Oh, the. It's not quite 5:30.
You guys don't have to be that quiet. We're waiting for the TV people to give us the thumbs up, so chat amongst yourselves.
Or grab some cookies.
Those
They're in the back of the room.
And so because we're on TV, you can actually watch this replayed on Raleigh Channel 16, the segments that pertain to your children receiving the awards. And after they receive the awards, you feel free to come down and take pictures. And you can stay for the whole meeting if you want.
Yeah.
But you don't have to. You're welcome to stay for the whole meeting. Congratulations to all the parents and students.
It's a great night to be a Bulldog.
5:29.
Waiting on the thumbs up.
Danny, come on.
I think it's supposed to be. Do we have any of the sponsors for these groups? FBLA,
Yeah, I've seen some.
The two ones I had already.
the child development,
Didn't get to take
Yeah, so
I'll be there for half
the
the day.
academic team.
yep,
Latin.
we're good.
All right.
Okay.
Call our meeting back to order. Got the thumbs up? You go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So we're going to start the evening with student recognitions. The Board of Education would like to recognize Maddie Pence. Maddie's story, 48 years, was selected for publication in the 2019 Granny Annie Journal. Granny Annie is a means for students to learn research and interview skills through an examination of their own family history. This year's publication included 536 submissions from around the United States. Maddie has been invited to present his own story in June, her own story in June at the Missouri History Museum in St. Louis, Missouri.
Maddie?
Maddie?
The Board of Education would like to recognize the following students in FBLA, that's Future Business Leaders of America, for a successful competition at district level held in February at Lebanon, Missouri. Mabel Daugard. You can come down when your name is called, if you're here. Yeah.
We'll take a group picture too.
Michael Miller. Wyatt Parks. Andrew Birkby. David Rogers. Fadra Verrett.
Yay!
Jessica Kimball. Emily Phillips. Seth Smith. Marler Toothaker. Daniel King. Anna Toothaker. Pearl Doggard. Hannah Fryer. Colin McEnany. Tari Fasin. Rachel Phelps. Aaron Haberman. Jared Hicks. Abdu Ibrahim. Jacob Lennox. Stephanie Kim. And Helen Lennox. Oh, Leventis, excuse me. Helen Leventis.
We'll get a group picture with them. You guys need to
Maybe
stick
move.
this way, center in front of the bulldog, act like you like each other. Have to do 2 rows. Daniel, get them organized. You've been through this before. You're a former board member. You can get going here. Get them going. Mr. Haberman, you want to say a few words when you're done, or you want to wait till all your groups are up? Yeah, Mr. Haberman, why don't you talk through who did what at state from this group, and they can raise their hand when you call their name individually?
We can give you a cheat.
We can give it to you.
Well, first of all, Michael Miller and Wyatt Parks, who were either or here, he did the combined objective in performance event, banking and financial systems, and finished ninth in the state. Stephanie Kim, Helen Leventis, and Marley Toothaker competed in a pre-judge performance event for website design and finished sixth in the state. That's very high. That finishing. Aaron Haberman, Colin McEnany, and Caitlin Fisher competed in a combined objective and performance event of hospitality management and finished fifth in the state, making them the first alternate to go to nationals. And Dan King finished third in the state and qualified to go to nationals in San Antonio this summer. So I'll be accompanying that young man to San Antonio in July. So it's the first time we've had that level of success in these 4 years. So we're very pleased with that. It's been a great group of students this year. If anybody wants me to speak about this or not, but objectively speaking, in every measurable way, we doubled in size this year. We had 24 students last year, we have 46 this year. Anecdotally speaking, I hear from other advisors all the time about how successful we are. The advisor in Lebanon asked me to leave for district because we win too much. I look forward to another really good year next year. Students are already preparing for next year. I heard lots of comments when we got back to Rolla from Springfield this year. Now we know what it takes to win. That wasn't as hard as we thought it would be. Those kinds of things. So I fully expect that we will see more students qualify for nationals in the near future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The students who qualify for state. Students who qualify for state. So we have an additional certificate for those.
You want me to announce them all?
We have it for those.
No, I got it, yeah. Daniel King. Aaron Haberman. Colin McEnany. Kayla Fisher. Stephanie Kim. Helen Leventis. Marler Toothaker. And Michael Miller and Wyatt Parks are not here.
So Gina, you want a picture with the state? Jeremy, why don't you do that? Get them organized. Thank you.
All right.
Good job. Way to go.
The Board of Education would like to congratulate the following students for completing the Child Development Associate Credential, CDA. The CDA credential is the most widely recognized credential in the early childhood education and is a key step on the path career advancement in early childhood education. These students have put in over 480 hours of field experience. They have been observed by a professional development specialist and completed a professional portfolio that is reflective of all their experiences. East Central College was instrumental in this process by paying $425 per student for the CDA fee. So, Marissa Barnett, Bourbon. Haley Benavente, Rolla.
Thanks for coming.
Megan Brown, Rolla. Kaylee Davis, Rolla. Micah Fisher, Rolla. Kayla Frisch, Rolla. Abby Husky, Rolla. Benita Kuntz, St. James. Lizzie Mahaney, St. James. Emily Rohr, Salem. And Brooklyn Smith, Rolla.
Is Mrs. Diaz here? Here's.
First for the picture.
First, you got a center.
Have to center by the bulldog, huh?
Well, even the Salem and St. James folks have to center
Center
in
by
front of
the
the
bulldog.
Bulldogs. Sorry. Not sorry.
Yeah, so this is the first group, right?
Yeah,
Good.
exciting. Here's one more.
Oh, one more parent, hold on.
This is the second year of the early childhood and careers program, so this is our first year of graduates, completely 4 years. They have worked extremely hard, like we said a while ago, we could not have done this without our field experienced teachers, so it's always fun to hear them work. If you are one of those field experienced teachers, would you please stand up? Those 480 hours were spent in those field experience classrooms, and so everything here is welcome experience there. We also couldn't have done this without Laura Brown, who has been instrumental in helping us keep this off the ground and in the classrooms. And also for the Central, like you mentioned, they did have a brain vacancy of 425 hours to go through. The other thing I wanted to quickly mention is Mr. Michael Fisher here won the Breaking Traditions State Award for the state of Missouri. So he was awarded that in April, and he was invested for that award. That basically is an award of So we congratulate Micah on that. And then also Micah and Anita both competed for USA for early childhood. And they placed third in that competition.
Thank you for bearing with us while we do all these recognitions. It's a great day for a board member. The Board of Education would like to recognize the following list of students for their success on the National Latin Exam. The exam is administered to over 139,000 students worldwide, so their achievements are admirable. Abby Hobbs, Level 1 Gold Medal. Angel Yang, Level 1 Gold Medal. David Cahill, Level 1 Gold Medal. Emma Hobbs, Level 1 Silver Medal. Noah Murdoch, Level 1 Silver Medal. Akira Durbin, Level 1 Silver Medal. Colin McEnany, Level 1, magna cum laude. Maggie Hardwick, Level 1, magna cum laude. Belle Staley, Level 1, magna cum laude. December Wingfield, Level 1, cum laude. Bella Kessel, Level 1, cum laude. Riley Wasilak, Level 1, cum laude. Alexis Gilman, Level 1, cum laude. Helen Weiss, Level 1, cum laude. Caitlin Kleffner, Level 1, cum laude. Elena Bai, Level 2, gold medal. Kaylee Stanley, Level 2, gold medal. Tristan Leitz, Level 2, silver medal. Fiona Giddens, Level 2, magna cum laude. Aaron Pfeiffer, Level 2, magna cum laude. R.J. Connor, Level 2, magna cum laude. Emily Newlinger, Level 2, magna cum laude. Joseph Dearberry, Level 2, magna cum laude. Eliana Stanislawski, Level 2, cum laude. Kate Mallory, Level 3, silver medal. Shauna Harris, Level 3, magna cum laude. Marlaire Toothaker, Level 3, cum laude. Stephanie Kim, Level 3, cum laude. Dia Alada, Level 4, magna cum laude. And Christina Happel, Level 4, cum laude. Picture time.
Sit
Know the drill.
yourselves on the bulldog.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, is our teacher,
Yep.
she coming, our teacher?
Yep.
congratulations to all the students who medaled or got cum laude or magna cum laude. They worked really, really hard. It's the first time in a long time that we've taken the National Latin exam, and the kids were all scared, and they're like, no, we don't want to do this. But they did it, and they did a wonderful job, and they worked hard to do that, to achieve everything that they got. The exam is given to over 139,000 students worldwide, actually, even though it's called national. There are 50 other countries that participate in this, so it's really an honor to be among those students getting medals or any kind of recognition for this National Latin exam. There's a large number of students that you compete with, so congratulations, you did a beautiful job.
Thank you. The Board of Education would like to recognize the RHS academic team for a successful district tournament. They won the Class 4 District 6 championship title. The Rolla team won this year, and it is the fourth straight year in a row that Rolla has won the district title. Team members are as follows. Alina Bai, first place, all district. David Ditton, sixth place, all district. Cassie Hayes, captain. Kathleen Beatner, co-captain. Kayla Copeland. Angela Yang. Mallory Moats. Go back and pick up Michael Keeney, first place, Algebra 2 team. Samantha Maddox. Yaya Elgawadi. Jesse Kimball. And Brendan Crabtree. Renee Wang? Yep. I thought I pronounced. Renee Wang. Okay.
As he mentioned, this is the fourth year running that our kids got first place district championship. In the last 4 years also, we've gone to state twice. Last year brought home the fourth place trophy for that. Just very proud of all the accomplishments these kids have made. He did mention Elena Bai medaled. She was the top scorer for the entire district for that. We were very happy about that. And David Ditton was placed in the top 6 for medaling for the district competition. Awesome kids. You're going to hear their names a lot. The two that medaled were only sophomores, so we look forward to having them for another couple of years. And we're going to definitely miss Cassie. She did a great job serving for us for captain this year. Thank you, guys.
The Board of Education is proud to recognize Brenna Haven for being named one of the top runners-up in the 2019 Prudential Spirit of Community Awards in Missouri. Due to the number of volunteer hours that Brenna has completed, she also qualified for the President's Volunteer Service Award. This award recognizes Americans of all ages who have volunteered significant amounts of their time to serve their communities and their country. Brenna has worked with her charity, Cupcakes for Cancer, and has raised more than $15,000 through cupcake sales for the Joy of Caring Cancer Fund to assist in paying everyday expenses. Brenna and her family have distributed 3,500 cupcakes this year alone.
So they're raising money for the Joy of Caring Cancer Fund, which pays for cancer patients for their wigs, for gas, groceries, medicine, the kind of things that people don't really think about when someone's battling cancer. 2011, I think, is the first year that we started. In July, the second week of July. So normally the hospital will send out a big notification through either the Phelps Health Fund. They normally post it on their Facebook. We also have a Facebook page, Brenna's Cupcakes for Cancer, and that'll be posting out as well.
Yeah, Brenna, hey, I'd like to add one more thing. I bought a lot of these cupcakes, and
Just one?
I've several dozen.
Okay.
They're all very good, so we're very proud of you. Nice job.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations.
Now we have some staff recognitions. The Board of Education would like to recognize Mrs. Stephanie Grisham for receiving the 2019 South Central Assistant Principal of the Year for our region.
Yay. Congratulations.
You don't get away with this.
Yeah. Speech.
Well, this is my 4th year as an assistant principal, and I was very humbled to be nominated. I believe Dr. Jim Pritchett nominated me, so very humbled to more humbled even to receive it. It's voted on by all the administrators in our region, so those that I'm beginning networking with, that's kind of a nice thing to be awarded something like this from them. But it's not just my award, it's everybody I work with. Without the village at Rolla High School to support me every day and allow me to do what I do along with them to get our kids to where they need to be and be successful. It's not just my award, it's everybody's. So, thank you.
Thank you. The Board of Education would also like to recognize Dr. Monica Davis for receiving the 2019 South Central Counselor Association Administrator of the Year Award for our region.
I want to say a big thank you to Monica Lyle. She's a counselor at the high school, and just a huge honor. This one really means a lot to me because I work in a district where safety is first for our kids, and I've gotten to really get to reach out to stakeholders in the community, Division of Children's Services and Juvenile Office. We're working collaboratively now to actually provide all the services that these kids need, and this is huge for me. So this one means a lot. Thank you so much, Monica Lyle. Thank you.
Yeah, we have more people here than we had certificates, and that's, the reason is the math pommel relays. So we saw an email, it didn't get transferred to this agenda, but Mrs. McCarthy's been gracious enough to talk about that. Mrs. Bond is the sponsor. So we'll go ahead and do that and recognize the kids, and then the certificates will follow. Apologize for that. That was 75 people we just recognized. It's the largest number we've ever recognized at a board meeting, so.
If I could get all of the students who competed in the pommel relays to come on down here. So this is actually my group too. I'm Lisa McCarthy, and I'm a math teacher at the high school. And Steve Blakely at the junior high is the co-sponsor for the pommel relays. This would not be possible without a grant from CORE, Champions of Rolla Education. We'd like to thank them greatly for doing this every year for us. We go down to Springfield and we compete with a little over 1,000 students in mathematics competitions ranging from Algebra 1 through Calculus. The students you see before you were in first place teams. We had first place Algebra 1, we had first place Geometry, first place Algebra 2, and we did first place Math Mania, which has a traveling trophy. To my recollection, this is the first time we've ever won that honor, which is a tough one. In the Math Mania, the kids, we get 4 students, and we have Sudata Hoer and Joel Schott here with us. They competed on that event. Every school, which there were over 40 schools competing this year, go down to the gym floor and they start answering questions. They get a team of 4. As soon as they get a question wrong, they have to go sit down. They're eliminated. So it came down to us and Central out of Springfield, who is used to winning this every year. And they just kept, they ran out of questions. They got to the very last one. And they said, all right, so this is a question we don't think anybody will get right, so the closest wins. And we got the closest guess. So we won we're gonna take it though. We got the medal for that. If I could, and I do not teach any of these students, so their names will throw me. I know Logan Elliott, if you could step forward when I do call your name, Cassie Hayes, Sudata Hoer, Joel Schott, and then could you give me your name? Caden Martins. And what team did you compete on? He was one of the Algebra 1s, so he came from the junior high with us. And could you step forward and tell us your name? Evan Wong, also Algebra 1, correct? And one more. Kevin Kent, and he was also on the Algebra 1 team. So they competed as a team. They had to compete against over 40 schools, and they came home with the first place win in all those categories. Thank you very much.
Now stay here, get a picture. We'll get certificates to you guys. Congratulations. Thank you, Mrs. McCarthy.
Again, you're welcome to stay. Thanks, Susan. We've got up here. All right. Questions from the floor? At this time, any person wishing to speak on any question previously discussed through administrative channels and not on the agenda will be granted 5 minutes to make a presentation to the board. Please state your name for the record. Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to presentations on agenda items. Any person wishing to speak on any items on the agenda will be granted 5 minutes to make a presentation. Please state your name for the record. Now we'll move on to consent agenda. A consent agenda is utilized by the Rolla Board of Education as a means of dealing with routine matters which must be considered by the Board of Education but require a minimum of discussion. All Board of Education members receive and review written information supporting the items listed on the consent agenda well in advance of the meeting. While any Board of Education member is welcome to remove any item from the consent agenda for separate consideration or discussion for any reason, normally all items on the consent agenda are approved in one motion with a minimum of discussion. It's recommended that the following items, A through G, be approved. Do I have a motion?
Ms. Jamison, if I could, just real quick, earlier in executive session, we recognized the retirement of Chris Hill, health instructor at the junior high, 22 years of service. I'd like to recognize her. And on your consent agenda, you have Tamara Skaggs' retirement, 28 years as a bus driver for the Rolla School District.
Patience of a saint, that woman.
Amazing.
You think she's a saint, don't we? Yes.
I'll make the motion that we accept the consent agenda items A through G.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And Myra, I will abstain because of conflict. All right, we'll move on to new business. Mr. Hounsome will present on the textbook adoptions for K-5 and 6 through 8. I'm glad you're presenting because I really did try to, there's a lot there.
There's a lot.
Yes.
Beginning on page 39 of your packet are two contracts that I'll be asking for your approval tonight. And they're large enough and significant enough that I thought we should probably talk through the process that we go through here in the districts and we look at adopting materials for our classroom. So in general, every program, every curricular area in the district is on a 5-year cycle to update and then provide new material. So on a 5-year cycle, we will revise curriculum if needed, take a look at the materials that are used to support the curriculum, and update those as needed. Now, the way the district is aligned, out of my office, I will lead all material adoptions for grades K through 6, beginning in 7th and 8th grade, and then at the high school, the principals in those buildings will lead those adoptions along with my assistants. Dr. Fulton, who's here tonight, we brought in the 7th and 8th grade together and kind of make this a full K-8 adoption as we reviewed the materials. So that is reflected in here. I'm going to share the process with you. Again, this is a 5-year process. Obviously, English language arts materials are a big deal for all new materials for K through 8. Next year, I'll be standing in front of you and doing math. And so every so often, we'll do these very large adoptions. And I think it's always good to touch base with our process. So, as I mentioned, all K-6 materials, and in this case K-8, is led through our office. For this adoption, we do take a committee approach. We involve teachers from every building. With 3 elementaries, the way we split up our committee is 1 teacher per grade level, per building, for that grade level team. So the kindergarten team, first grade team, second grade team all have 3 members. Made up of 1 teacher from each of the 3 elementaries. So when we put together teachers from all 3 elementaries, in this case the middle school, the junior high, we also had some of the instructional technology staff members go through this review of materials. In all, we had 30 staff members total serve on the committee to review the materials and make a decision. So our process is driven by an evaluation rubric that we use to evaluate all the materials. So on the rubric, we split into major components that we are looking for, ranging from the alignment of the materials to our curriculum and the Missouri Learning Standards. So that is one thing that we work through to make sure they are aligned. Instructional methodology, in this case, in both reading and writing, assessment, technology implementation in the classroom, several major categories that we use to try and review these materials and get some objective measures of how they meet our needs. So the way this process looks is I'm in contact with all of the publishers. I ask them to send us review materials, sample materials that we can look at. We begin with the entire committee doing what we call a cold read, is sitting down and looking through the materials on our own and just digging in and having teachers go through and look at the lessons, look at the reading selections, look at everything, that is provided. We spent a couple months working through that. It takes a lot of time to go through even a single resource. From that cold review, we do try to get down to 3 or 4 top candidates, and that's not usually that difficult. There are usually 3 to 4 that stand out as being possible fits for our district. Once we're able to get down to finalists, in this case, we got down to 4 finalists. We invited each of the publishers into the district. We took a full day. We got subs for all of the committee members, and we took the full day for the 4 publishers to present to the group. Each got a 90-minute presentation because you can't see everything that's in those materials, and especially when you start talking about the online portions, how they handle assessment and everything that's there. So we get a really in-depth look. From there, we get out our rubric again and do final ratings and discussions to build some consensus around the materials, get quotes from the top selections, and then once we work through all the quotes and ratings, come to you for board approval to purchase. For this year, the ELA lines break at a point of K-5 is considered more of an elementary version, and then the publishers will have a 6-8 version, which is designed to be more obviously middle school. So our recommendation tonight does split the materials at that K-5, 6-8 point. For the K-5 recommendation, we are recommending a series called Into Reading by Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. This involves yearly consumables shipped to the district where students will be using workbooks to write in and interact with directly. It has a full selection of online support materials far above and beyond what's provided in the actual book. This will be a 5-year license that we will be signing if approved, and that quote does include professional training for the district staff. Right? And it seemed to be a very good choice, especially for our elementary age kids. The grades 6 through 8 recommendation is to go with a product called Study Sync from McGraw-Hill. For this one, if you look at the contract, it's a combination of yearly shipments at the 6th grade level. At the junior high level, we purchase classroom sets, and will not be doing as much consumable work at the junior high level. So we will not be getting as many shipments on a yearly basis there. This also has a full online component, and I would tell you, of all the materials we reviewed at the junior high, there was another one that was very close and was also a very strong product for us to consider. And really the tiebreaker came in that we felt like this did a better job presenting writing. The instruction and learning in the writing process was really what made the difference. And again, teacher training and support is included in the quotes. So it's quite a long process. We began this year in mid-January, and we finished up in mid-April when the publishers were in the district to present. We will probably begin math a little bit sooner because as long as this has drawn out, I would like to be done with this about a month sooner. And so we will probably begin the process a little sooner next fall. But I would be happy to take any questions about the review process or the materials. And would recommend that we approve the 2 contracts that are in your board manual for the K through 8 products.
Greg, what major changes have you seen in the 5 years since the last adoption? What improvements have been made in these products?
So these materials that we're looking at now are all 2020 copyrights, and typically what changes is the selection of literature that's in the book and also the type of online resources that are available in the line. So everything that we looked at was brand new copyrights. Not always do the stories change. The ones that we looked at brought in a lot more well-known authors, and part of the complaint that you get when you do a reader is the quality of the selection of the stories that are in it. I think all 3 major companies that we worked with have really worked hard to get high-quality literature in our readers so that it's a little better experience for the kids. Okay. I think the teachers were pleased with the improved selection of stories that are in the books.
Craig, is it pretty standard that when we're getting textbooks these days, that there is an online element or an online access to the textbook?
I would say it's more than standard. That, again, that's part of our rubric, is judging what does the technology integration look like. Yeah, I don't know of any companies that present that don't offer some type of online resources for both parents and students and teachers. Whether it's assessment or whether it's just access to the material in the book, that online interaction is pretty important to us.
Okay, I'll make the recommendation to adopt both of these textbooks that were presented.
I'll second that.
Any other questions or discussion for Mr. Helmsam on those two contracts? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Okay. We are going to have an alternative program discussion. Dr. Fulton and Mr. Smith will present information to us on the alternative program.
Matt, that's the second time you've done that. Yeah.
Change brand of batteries or something.
So just a little backdrop, Dr. Fulton and Mr. Smith led a study, kind of looking at the alternative program last year. At the end of last year, we talked about what changes possibly could we make. We refreshed the program, just a little bit of change in delivery maybe of services. So kudos to Dr. Fulton and Mr. Smith for leading that effort amongst others within the district. So we thought it'd be appropriate to, there will be a recommendation at the end for adding additional staff members. So leading up to that, Dr. Fulton and Mr. Smith will lead us through that process. So thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for having us, and good evening. We have been very blessed to be able to do this for our district. The alternative program has been in place since I've been here, and I know he's been here longer than I have. So it was time to look at that program to determine the effectiveness of, is what we're doing still meeting the needs for our kids? That's basically what we were looking at. And we looked at all sorts of things whenever we looked at attendance, you know, how many times kids come back, are we really meeting their needs? And so it was a really good in-depth study for us to actually determine. We looked at data, what are we doing and what are we not doing that our kids need to be successful. So some of the things we considered are, what are we doing that is good? What is contributing to their success in the alternative program? And is the program following the design as it was planned? And then we analyzed our alternative programs throughout the district. So just the alternative program for grades 5 through 12, credit recovery and Missouri options, and in-school suspension, because all of those programs work together in some means, somehow, some way, especially for the junior high, because we combine in multiple things. Mr. Smith?
Monica, I was
Yes.
just going to say, just for our viewers, could you tell what the alternative program is, what it kind of entails?
Our alternative program currently is a 45-day placement for students with some behaviors or things where they're not being successful in the regular classroom. So we put them in a smaller environment of 15 kids to 2 teachers, and we work on individual things that they need. So if one needs help in actually getting some work and motivation done, another one in learning about different behaviors or how to correct those behaviors, they do all of those types of things within that classroom, and it's housed at the junior high.
Thanks, Monica. Also, tied to alternative program, we just think of our alternative school, but we also have other alternative ways to get credit that we kind of consider all of our alternative programming. A lot of that is our Learning Center and in-school suspension programs. Many of you probably don't even know what our Learning Center is, and so I'm going to try to take a minute to explain that. To me, it's kind of a hidden treasure of our district, but that's my personal opinion. We currently, the Learning Center is at RTI. It's in the first floor, or the first hallway down at the very end on the right. It currently houses all of our full and half-day credit recovery students, along with the Missouri Options program. And placement into that is, if our kids lose credit due to attendance, then they go there to get their credit done on our A+LS, which is also what our alternative school uses. And so they're seated at a computer, they get the credit back through the computer. Also, half-day students are there if they just have lost credit in half of their classes, say 5th or 7th hour. Other ways students get in there, if we get a student that enrolls from a different district that hasn't been in school for a while, they come to us halfway through the semester. We can't really put them in a seated class, so then they go over there to get their credits that way. The other portion of that is the Missouri Options Program. We've talked about it here a little bit. It's a program through the state that allows students that have kind of got off track at school, have lost credit or have dropped out for a while, decided to come back to us, or just had something happen to them. It gives them a way to get their high school diploma by taking the HiSET exam, which is like the old GED. Probably one of the more gratifying things we get to do, truthfully. Had a kid just this morning that I got to call and tell him that he had passed his writing test and that he was going to get to walk at graduation. He was so gracious and happy and told us thank you for giving him so many chances. I mean, it's really a cool experience. We're going to have 5 kids graduate through that just this year. So along with that, we would like to add what we're going to call an alternative suspension location. That is one thing we've learned through talking to all these other schools, and we know, obviously this is a one-year study, but student discipline is always changing. Our demographics of our community is always changing. So what's best for our kids isn't the same as what it was 20 years ago as far as discipline. So we want to always be looking at what can make the kid learn what's best, what they need to do, teach them a lesson, but not ruin their career in school. So we want to do an alternative suspension location for kids that are suspended. We want to allow them to go ahead and still come to school, not in the building that they're in. And that's 7th through 12th grade. So if a kid gets OSS, we want to allow them to go to the Learning Center so we can give them attendance credit, so they're not going to lose their credit for attendance, and also get credit for the work that they've done. So that's something new that we have not done, but we really think it's best for our kids to set them up for success. And also we want to look at other options to supplement the full-day credit recovery. Kids are in there on a computer all day. We want to get some things that if they can go out in the community and do some community service or any things like that, just to get the kids on their feet and doing more things other than just at the computer. Tied with this is our in-school suspension program. Currently it's Rolla Middle School and the high school. Right now, since the change of the schools, the middle school has 4th through 7th grade, so the 7th graders from junior high have to go to the middle school for ISS. We have the 8th through 12th graders, so if an 8th grader gets in trouble and needs to go to ISS, they come to the high school. It's not ideal. Getting work for them is not easy. 8th graders sometimes try to show off for 10th graders and things like that in the classroom. We also, in the ISS room, we have partial day credit recovery. And so there's a limited amount of seats that we can have for that. We would like to get more, and that's the thing that we would like to do with our ISS program is to be able to move the 7th and 8th grade program to the junior high, which would allow the high school to get more of the full and half-day credit recovery students to alleviate some of the students at the Learning Center to allow for the alternative suspension location. So they're all kind of tied together. So that's kind of what the Learning Center and ISS programs are.
I've got a quick question, Mr. Smith. What do we currently do for the OSS students?
Currently, they'll be suspended. They do not get credit for the work, and they don't get attendance credit.
In our study, we went to multiple school districts. Mr. Smith went to some, Dr. Reed, Mr. Swearingen, who is one of our alternative teachers, we went to others. And what we learned within those programs is that everyone is unique to the needs of their district. And for us, that was very good to see because we need to create something that works for us. And one component that we feel is missing is a social and emotional learning curriculum component. We need to work with kids in this program to be able to sometimes manage behaviors, to make good choices, to get some self-esteem. I mean, sometimes that's just lacking. And then they're in this program to top it off. So we want to be able to give them the support to walk away from this program with their heads held high and that they've done something well. And we need to add that curriculum in that component. We also want to bring in service learning. Giving back is often the best way to feel good about yourself. And we want our kids to experience that. We want to bring that component in. It may start small and then we grow it and expand it out. Get those kids in our community. Get them more than just in front of a computer because we do have A+LS. We also want to have additional seats for schools to access because sometimes with some of the kids that we have, it becomes very tight. And so we look to Mr. Hounds and for guidance for students to put in, but sometimes we have a need for just a little bit more than that 15. But if we have those additional seats, my ISS students can go to that classroom as well to get some of those same supports. We also have a need to address the needs of our special education students in a better way. Right now, they go to the classroom, And my teachers that are upstairs with my special education teachers come down and service them for a minimal amount of time. We want to be able to give them more support so they are feeling much more successful in that realm. That's what we would like to look at in changes for our alternative school, and those are our needs that came from this study. So our recommendations to you is to add an alternative suspension location as an option at the Learning Center for grades 7 through 12. We no longer want to have the stigma of saying you are in alternative. We want to change the name. We want to change it to the KEY program, which means knowledge empowers you. Any knowledge we give our kids is better, and this, the support and the success. We want to change the name to the KEY program. We also would like to have one additional alternative teacher, which will allow RJH to house their own in-school suspension program and increase the number of students served in the KEY program overall. It would allow for us to bring more kids in with more needs and address them. Any questions?
Just to amplify one thing that, or a couple things that Dr. Fulton and Mr. Smith said, when we first started the alternative program, we did purposely put a person in there that was special education certified, so we were able to service students with IEPs. That hasn't been the case in recent years with Mr. Swearingen and Mr. McElroy, so this change will allow for that to occur as well. We need to get back to being able to do that in addition to the social emotional piece that she talked about. So there are people on staff that should you approve the additional position, that we have already hired than other positions that we would do some internal transfers, explore that, which would result in an opening somewhere else eventually that wouldn't be before you until the June 6th board meeting. But if we have your permission tonight to move forward with this recommendation, then we can get started on making those changes for next year.
I really like the social emotional component of it because, like you're right, a lot of children that are in that program, that's where they really have their issues. It's not really with their academic, they're with their, they're very smart often. It's just they have that social emotional disconnect. So
That's
I'm
right.
really glad that that's going to be part of it.
So many students come to us with issues
Exactly.
that we don't know every
Exactly.
single solitary day, and sometimes we manage those emotions with kids on a daily basis. Some days are really good, some days are
I know,
really
I
bad, and
understand.
we just need some more help and guidance for them.
I agree.
Thank you.
I really, really like that part.
I agree too. On the 45-day placement, is that an option to extend that if necessary?
Yes. Kids come into the program and they have so many points a day, and then they lose points if they misbehave after we work with them and work with them.
There are
And-
times, too, they can reduce that.
Right. So they
So-
could lose the day, and they can get some days added, but then they can also work their way out. So we create plans like little mini agreements. So if they do very well for this week, we can take off a couple extra days. So we work with each kids individually.
So we've been very careful to call it the alternative program and not the alternative school. There are districts that have a full alternative school where kids go, that's their placement, that's where they graduate from. That's never really been the goal of this program or the scope of this program. This has always been designed to be a short-term placement to address behavioral concerns along with getting them on track academically. So you asked about, can we extend it? The only times that really we've extended it by our own decision was just to have a student maybe finish up a full semester in order to finish up some credits and graduate. But we've tried not to design it where kids would stay there for a long-term setting,
Oh, okay.
so.
I like the change of the name, too.
I do too.
I think that's such a positive,
Yeah, it's very
a positive way to state it.
This committee has worked very hard on this
Yeah.
presentation. I'm very, very proud
I'm
of them.
really glad that this has been investigated. It's something that's definitely, I think, is going to be positive for the school district.
So you need us to take an action.
To approve additional FTE so we can address the recommended changes to the program.
Okay, do we have a motion
I'll make that motion.
and a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion or questions for Dr. Fulton or Mr. Smith? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay,
Good job.
very
Thank
good.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. We'll be anxious to hear an update.
All right, we have a technology year-end review. Mrs. King and Mrs. Spurgeon and Ms. Strain and Mr. Wright will present on the year-end review of our technology program.
Switch it up a little bit this time. I usually start and Brenda follows up, but Brenda's gonna take it away this time.
Probably leave it right away or something.
If you talk
Yes,
about the plan, you have to be here to implement it, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that how that works?
Yeah, I feel like some of you guys, some are new faces, some have been with me for quite the journey of this instructional tech that I've been on. So I'm going to give you a little highlights of what we've been doing this year, because we know that technology continues to change. It's an ever-evolving. I joke that I'm going to leave with a list of things, as I leave the door, of new things that are coming our way.
Can I stop you for a second? 28 years?
28 years.
28 years. Thank you
Yeah.
for all you've done
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
28 years at Rolla.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Lots of technology from,
We're trying to make you cry.
no, don't. It's all good. It's all good. I don't like to think I'm that old, but I think that,
Dr. Creedy wanted me to make you cry. I'm just kidding.
it's been a ride. Okay, so a reminder that everything that drives our technology decisions that we do for our district, are based around these CSIP goals, our Comprehensive School Improvement Plan. And so just a reminder that these are our goals that we kind of build from. So as part of the instructional technology team, we have Christopher, Jeannie, and I. We stay focused on just leading teachers. Our three focus are engaging students, enhancing learning, and improving instruction. That's kind of, every time we do PD, that's in our minds what's happening. So we continue to try to meet the needs of our teachers and look at what's best practices. So this year we had kind of 4 teams of teachers. Our iTeach continues to be our teachers that are craving to know the latest technologies first, to be our beta testers of technologies. They want the most amount of training because they don't want to fall behind. They find the value in additional training from just what some of the other teachers get. So we had 50 of those teachers, and when we started this, I think this is our 12th year doing iTeach. We started off with just kind of some smartboard training and first what a blog online would look like and things like My Big Campus and REAP and clickers and all the things, iPads that have come our way. But this year our iTeach group was focused on many things Google. Google is still leading our way, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then we continue to put our new teachers in a specialized group to support them. There's so many technology tools that they need to get that they actually crave more than sometimes that we can give them because there's just so many days in a school year, and we get them jump-started pretty quickly and try to support them as we can. And then our grade level subject area teachers and our departmental teachers, kind of everybody else in the district is provided technology. So I'll show you a little bit. So this year when we started to plan what our PD days would look like, we took feedback from administrators, teachers, school board, everybody about what it would look like. And one of our issues in the past was the number of subs we had at one time. Because we had to lead so many people to get them to where we thought they needed to be with our rollout of Chromebooks. But it's surprising, our district now, our teachers' skills have all been lifted up. They're learning from each other, they're growing, they're learning from our students. If a teacher doesn't know how to do something, our student will tell them. I had a teacher today, I was putting together an online test for her at the last minute. She had to go home. She was worried about her students, how they would take the test online. And I had to remind her, your kids do this in all their classes, they'll be fine, and it went perfectly smooth. I don't think she'll go back from a paper. We've got a few that are still hesitant of trying it. But so this year what we looked at is we gave our teachers, we selected days that we would provide professional development. We gave those list of days to our teachers, and then they got to choose which day best fit their schedule. And we capped it out of between 8 to 12. 12 was a big group. We didn't have very many of those that that we provided them, so we didn't have too many subs. When we started moving teachers around, we tried not to have too many subs out of one building at one time. And I think things just worked better, having smaller groups, you know, to put them around a table together to collaborate, just giving them some focused facilitation from us. Here's an idea, but now what can you do with that? And let them talk and let us guide them. So I feel like it was very effective, a lot of positive feedback from our teachers of having that time that they really got to get one-on-one instruction from having us with them. Because I tell them all the time in training, when I'm showing you something, I want you to put it in your lesson plan when you can use it within the next 2 weeks. Because if you don't use it in the next 2 weeks, then our time spent here with the 3 hours that we were working on something, you won't ever use it, more than likely. So, you know, we really work on, okay, here's a tool. Let's look at how it can best fit into your curriculum, and now let's develop something for your curriculum and that matches what you're about to teach in the next couple of weeks. So it's really a focused idea that we work with. So as we continue, they continue, not me, but to just keep asking teachers what they need. You know, and it's a mix of, you can give teachers, let them completely guide it, but sometimes they don't know what they don't know. We're the experts in keeping up with it also. And so you have to have a little guidance, but yet let them have some choice, whether it's a video product or a better ways to use Google Apps, and let them decide. You guys have any questions on that one? Okay, so just some little numbers to crunch a little bit. So our average number of hours of PD per teacher is now up to almost 10 hours. That's average. I think that's pretty impressive. And that's teachers coming in on their own in the summer. That's teachers during their PD days and after school, et cetera. So that's highs and lows and everything mixed together. I think that's a pretty proud number. So 125 different sessions we offered this year. That, I'll show you, is also part of our winter blast we did, but just our highest number of hours earned was Strassie Campbell. She is a SPED teacher at the high school. She was part of our iTeach team. She jumped in with 12 hours in June doing some work with me when I did some certification with them, and then Laura Hounsome and Tori Snicker. So Google continues to drive what we do, and we are completely 100% on board. I am never disappointed in Google. One of the new features of Google Classroom that they pushed out free, we beta tested this semester, was teachers can push out an assessment through a Google form that now locks, when a teacher pushes it out through Google Classroom, it locks down the students' browsers. This is a free tool that Google's offering. It has to be on a school-managed device. But if the kids try to close their window, like to cheat and go to tabs, it alerts the teacher via an email that Brenda Spurgeon has shut down her computer, has exited the exam. So that is really changing the game. Many, many of our teachers were already doing Google form tests, but there was always that little bit of hesitation, like, how do I really know what they're doing? Well, Google provided it for us. So that has really got the energy up on what else they can do in Google. So Google has 4 certifications that you can work through. Starting off with Google Level 1, and it is a 3-hour test, roughly, that you prepare for, you take it on your own, and we now have 45 teachers that are Google Level 1. That's kind of starting, but it goes through everything from sheets to docs to forms to searching techniques to Google Meets. There's probably more Google tools than what you guys can imagine. I can go through a group of students and ask them all to name a different Google tool, and you'll come up with 50 of them easily. And so then the next level up, a little more challenging, is Google Level 2. So we have 20 teachers that were part of our iTeach team this year. They were already Google Level 1 certified last year. So our goal this year was that they would work on their Level 2 certification. Well, we've been doing a lot of things this year, so it got pushed back a little bit, and they are now planning to test next Thursday to get their Level 2 certification. The next certification after that is to be a Google certified trainer, and then you can be an innovator on top of that. So I think it's quite an accomplishment for our school district to say that we have 45 Google certified teachers, you know, and our teachers are very proud of that, you know, that they've earned it, and they feel the pressure of being a student when they're taking the test. But what I've done, a lot of these teachers, is I've just gone in on a Sunday, and we just log in together. They can't be like talking to each other, it's all proctored, but there's just the comfort of having us kind of close by and away from distractions, so it's been very successful.
Looking at some of your numbers, like your number of accounts and
Yes,
documents and
yes.
Google Classroom users, are there limits on those?
For Google for Education, gives you free accounts and unlimited space, where a personal Google account, free personal account, you get 15 gigabytes. For Google, every account through Google for Apps for Education, teachers kind of have unlimited storage,
Wow.
which is unheard of. But Google's business model is, if we get kids hooked, then they're going to leave going. And these kids are all Google. They're leaving us going, why would you save? Where's that file? What does that file say? Why would I not just put it on my Google and pull it up on my phone and pull it up, right, on any device? It is a different generation that, okay? It does. But, you know, in all the years now, you know, that we've been doing Google, it just works. You know, we had a little glitch a couple weeks ago, which Google was right on top of it, and you're going to have a glitch with any technology that you do. But having over 1 million Google Docs that we have for school, and I just can't imagine our world without it, our education world. It just made it so simple and just digital, everything. Do you want to say anything about Google?
I took 2 tests on the locked mode you were talking about today. I use it in every class. It's on my phone right now. I do schoolwork on my phone if I have to. I can do it anywhere. It's very helpful.
We're going into 2020. You know, this is what our school
Someone
looks.
said you had 170,000 documents on your drive. Is that true?
I have, and I don't want to. I'm connected. There's a lot of documents out there that
Just say
people
no
are
comment.
connected to me.
Is that a yes?
May not be yours.
There might be, they
May
may not
just
be
be
all
shared
mine,
with you.
students and.
He's testing the unlimited.
Yeah.
Could you touch
But
upon just
remember, I've
like
been
the
here a long time.
security of Google a little bit?
Yeah, actually, I'll let Ginger talk about the security, but I will give a little bit. You know, Rob Wood, our network administrator, will tell you that it is probably more secure than sometimes what's on our H drive. We've had zero trouble, and there's a whole admin console that he's able to monitor what's going on. If a student gets their account, you know, I have students come in where somebody has maybe missed, and it's a student's fault, they forgot to log out of a device, and they'll come in the next day, panic because all their Google Drive files are gone. You know, all I have to do is just talk to Rob and we restore their files. We can see what's going on, teachers can see what's connected. So I'll let you address that too. But as far as security, we just don't have issues. It is working. Okay, so something that we continue to do to offer our teachers is this January Winter PD Blast, and this is where primarily our iTeach teachers give back. One of their goals is, you're going to get this training, now you're going to help train others. And so when we first come back in January, there are 2 one-hour sessions that our teachers get to choose from. We had 35 sessions within our district this year. Some of them were like, oh, I only get to pick 2. There's so many of them. But it's really a great collaboration day across our district. Everyone just networking together, learning from each other, taking new tools to jumpstart second semester. Then I just wanted to point out, to keep you in the loop of the latest words that are going on and what they are. First is Flipgrid. We hit Flipgrid fever. So Flipgrid is a video recording tool that was purchased by Microsoft last summer. Microsoft kind of wants to stay in the game behind Google, so they purchased it. It is a seamless tool for kids to just record their voice. It's a very simple tool for teachers to set up, and so we've been using that to just do what I listed, book reflections, Some of our RTC, RTI teachers, when they practice interview skills, they're giving the students prompts, and they have to record themselves, how they would properly answer the questions. From reading fluency, math skills, all kinds of great things. So we are definitely on Flipgrid fever. We showed every teacher how to do that. I've been working on making some videos for retirement things because it's very simple to push out. We have this thing called Flippity that is all based on Google Sheets, where students can work together on a collaboratively, 5 different kids on different computers, all building on one Google Sheet, and it turns it into games for review. Very slick. I just did it in an English class up there. I was in an English one, and we were doing a Romeo and Juliet review. The kids had a great time, and then they got to play each other's games, and there was that accountability of, oh, I have an audience. I've got to make sure my spelling's right, and I'm going to show this in front of the whole class. We've got to make sure we're doing it correctly. Our answers are correct. A hot topic right now is these digital breakout rooms. So kids are given different clues, have to solve clues together to work to the next clue and get their prize at the end, like our escape rooms, the physical escape rooms. Well, digital escape rooms are a hot topic right now in school, so we have teachers that's catching on. And then we've been heavy into NWEA, which is our diagnostic testing tool that we've been giving in grades 2 through 10. Roughly, and then follow that up with Exact Path, which takes their assessment results from NWA and personalizes their learning. So this tool uses, make sure your volume's up good on there. On Flipgrid.
Shout out to all of my kids who have brought up their D's to C's and B's. Well done, guys.
Hey everybody, I'm Amanda Engelke. I would say my biggest challenge this year has been the transition from one district to another. Even though I'm teaching a lot of the same content, it's restructured just a little bit because the courses are shaped slightly differently. There's new textbooks, and I'm trying to align resources.
In English, too, we just finished up Macbeth, and overall, I got the highest quality character analysis maps that I've gotten in years previous. And I have a senior who just won the Optimist Essay Contest, and she is going on to districts where she'll compete for a $2,500 scholarship.
The biggest challenge for me as a new RPS teacher is learning some new skills, such as the computer training and getting into the health classroom and teaching health after 20 years of experience teaching PE and weight training. I think the biggest benefit for me in the PD is learning a lot of new information on the computer and Google Classroom.
Hi. In my 3rd grade classroom, it's always really nice to see the progression of kids and their technology skills. At the beginning of the year, we struggle signing into our Chromebooks and finding classroom and finding our assignments. At this point in the year, it is so refreshing to tell them where their assignments are, and they can seamlessly go and find them and complete their assignments with little to no help at all.
One of the biggest challenges this year has been finding a way to organize all of the resources that are offered to me in a way that I can access them quickly and easily to use in everyday lessons. I have benefited from professional development because it has helped me to be able to incorporate different things in my classroom, such as Flipgrid and different parts of Google Classroom.
Something positive that is happening in my classroom right now is we are doing some digital escape rooms over the solar system. We just completed one today and one the other day over the moon phases. My students really seem to like them. They are using problem-solving skills and collaboration skills and using those technology skills to answer all of the questions. And they're doing a really great job, and I'm super proud of them.
So that was made when I was teaching our teachers how to use Flipgrid. Then I had them. Some of those were I teach teachers, and I asked them to give a shout out for something positive that's happening in your classroom. And then the new teachers, I wanted to know what their biggest struggle was, what they benefited from PD, and what their goals were. But it was a great way to just have their voices, and they're all super packaged together. And then I downloaded them, put them into a easy tool called Adobe Spark Video, and voila, you have a video. And I look back over the years of making videos, how much easier it is without complicated software anymore. You can do that in. Okay, so we wanted to give you a few results from our teacher survey. Every year we try to do a professional development and technology survey. So this year we had 178 respondents. You can see we still are in the positive direction of people enjoying their technology training. And then this was asking them how often they use classroom technology. So, you know, it depends. You need to look at, you know, what their curriculum level is, but you'll see that it's going up and up daily that we're using it. We also ask them how often do you assign homework outside of class. And you'll see why that shifts is because there's so much engagement in class that our teachers really feel like our students have the best success if we can help them within their own classroom. That's really their goal, is to give them time, especially at, you know, below the sophomore level, that we just want them to get success, because sometimes when they get home, there's a lot more distractions and not the support that sometimes they need. So, and a few positive feedbacks we wanted to share. There were many of them. We're always listening, hoping that we are leading our staff in the right direction. You know, they really like being grouped with a few of their staff. And when they got to pick their times, they got to pick which people, too. They got to talk among each other. And they may not have gotten an entire grade together, but they got to pick a few people that were common with them, so that when they were able to work together, that they had a common interest. And then we wanted to recap. We didn't do a student survey this year. We did it last year with our tech plan, but just a little reminder of what some of those results were, because we always look back and look where we're headed. So this is just, you know, how do you typically access the internet outside of school, because we always want to know what tools the students have, and do they have internet access. That's kind of remained consistent now over the last couple years. And then, you know, just how often they're using homework or technology outside of school to complete their homework. Well, that kind of goes hand in hand with how often the students or the teachers are assigning it outside of school and what grade level it is. And then to wrap up my part, I want to remind you that this is our 4th annual, which is kind of hard for me to believe, the South Central Learning Summit. This is a partnership that I started 4 years ago with our RPDC team. Diane Grimp from there is the primary leader with me, but this has grown to over 200 teachers. We have a full registration going on, and our goal with this is to provide high quality PD at an affordable price. You know, and I keep telling our teachers, it's right here in your backyard. You know, go network. And we have 50 sessions this year. 18 of those are our Rolla Public Schools teachers, but 32 are from area all the way up to St. Louis, to West Plains, we've got somebody from Ava coming to present. But we really search out high quality presenters also. And so that alone makes it a worthwhile experience. So I'm very proud of just all the teamwork that happens here between Dr. Fulton, our custodians. Beth Jett helps me with our lunch, and then some of our teachers just manning the table, all of our presenters. So stop by on June 19th and just say a little hello and check out what's going on over there, because it's really a great day. And I think I get to turn this over to Ginger.
So that was our instructional technology review for the year. Now I get to talk to you about the rest of the technology department and what we're doing. All right, that slide got a little slipped. So ongoing updates, this is just something that every year, these are things we upgrade our hardware, district software, such as the library software, AR, STAR. We still use SMART with our interactive projectors. We upgraded our mobile device management software this year, which has been we use that for our iPads. That has been a great benefit to update that. We're actually paying less for the new software, and it is working better. That's what Jake upstairs tells me. He's my iPad guy. take Daisy. He does a great job with them. We increased our bandwidth. We were noticing that we were topping out on a daily basis. So prior to testing, we upgraded through Mornet to a 625 meg connection. And Mornet actually reduced some prices this year, so we didn't see much of an increase. I think it was somewhere about $2,500 to do that little increase during the school year. So they helped us with that, and testing went really smoothly this year. I think Mr. Hounson would agree. We had, maybe on the first day, we had a few little glitches, but things really ironed out, and I can always tell our phones don't ring. And so we know that things went well. We just didn't hear from anyone. So we had buildings, I think the middle school tested it. They were all pretty much testing at the exact same time. Every student in that building was testing. So we had on a Chromebook. It was very successful. We upgraded our building security. And we're always adding, we're talking with building administration on areas that they need either additions or we're replacing cameras. And we replaced about 68 this year just with our staff upstairs. I spoke about testing. The testing software company came out with a new way to launch the test this year, so we upgraded the testing servers and that whole process. So that went really smoothly as well. As Brenda mentioned, we're always continually using Google and are using them to the advanced degree that we can. We we added additional mobile device carts, Chromebook carts specifically, and I'll show you in the next slide. And then about this time last year, we had just started with our online registration. That was pretty new. We had started with new students, and then prior to our meeting last year, we had not done returning students. We've done that now. We're getting ready to do that again. There's always, that went really well. This year, we had our pre-K, K screening is already done. We did that all online. New students have been going registering upstairs. The process works really well because of our centralized registration that we have, and that makes it go, it's extremely smooth. So we're getting ready next week. Everyone that's listening can mark their calendars. On May the 22nd, we're going to go live with our returning student registration. So if you have a student in the district, you'll be able to log in through your portal and update your information there. Online registration has just it's been great. No more hand typing in all of the paperwork that people fill out for us. So device distribution, we work really hard to make sure that things are equitable and easy to access. So you can tell just in 1 year's time, we added about almost 40 carts. The majority of those went in at the middle school and the junior high. And just for a really quick throwback, there's 2016-17. We were at 101. So within 2 years' time, we have added 60 carts. Grades grades 2 through 5 have a cart in every classroom. 6th grade is almost there. Those teams of 3 share 2 carts, so 2 carts for every 3 teachers. The junior high has one in virtually every classroom, and then we have them in place at the high school where it's necessary. But you can tell just that expansion. And I just want to tell you too, real briefly, Brenda was talking about Chrome. I'll talk about Chromebooks for a moment. A Chromebook cart of 28 costs about $8,000. An iPad cart is 10, and I remember the days of when we had laptop carts, and those are about $27,000. So there is no way we could have gone to the degree that we are now and the coverage that we have with a Windows laptop. Chromebooks have really changed the way we do things and made it certainly affordable. So last year, about this time, we presented to you our 4-year technology plan. And that, just as a reminder, that is a plan that we put together every 4 years. It's based on 4 technology focus areas. There's a student focus area, a teacher, a data administration, management and communications, as well as technology resources. So all 4 of those groups, we had subcommittees. They met over a 4 to 5 month time. We brought together a plan to you, and it was approved about this time last year. And we, out of that plan, it's an all-encompassing plan, considering it's 4 years. But we decided that we would pull out the items that we thought were priorities and address those for the 2018-19 school year. So those are, here, got a little list for you. So digital citizenship, we really wanted to, this instructional tech team, I asked them if they could, we surveyed all of our teachers in the district and asked what they're doing as far as their curriculums in their classroom digital citizenship. So we're kind of across the board. We'd like to have some uniformity to that. And so we are going to lead the charge on that and work on that. You'll see that in that's an ongoing goal. We assisted Mr. Hounsome with the NWEA implementation. Brenda spoke to you about personal learning plans for our faculty, those small groups where they really came to us and said, this is what I need, as opposed to us saying, this is when you're meeting and this is what we're teaching you. We asked, it was more personalized. Christopher and Jeannie and Brenda also worked on online tutorials. They created a YouTube training channel, as well as posting just online little tutorials, screencasts, and things like that on our tech page on how to do all kinds. Name it, we've got, and we're building that library still. Communications, and Myra's going to click on that link. I just wanted to update you all. Hopefully that hasn't timed out. Yep. Myra, can you click on one of those other tabs? Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to, that is still clearly on our radar. Gina and I are working on that. That is we are working on, Gina, right now, we've sent them our migration data. They are populating our pages right now. What we want them to move over, we didn't want them to move everything. We'll certainly author some of that new data, but they're in the process of migrating. We brightened it up a little bit, and this is where we're still working. All right, Myra, do you mind to flip back for me? It's that far left. There you go. Thank you. So that was one of our main priority was to redesign the district website and create the custom mobile app, tie it in with School Messenger, our mass notification system, and that is still an ongoing process as well. We addressed building security, as I mentioned earlier. The new addition to the high school, we added card access, where you can swipe in without having to have a key, and we will eventually, that's something that we want to address, and that's one of the items in the safety and security and the survey that we would like to address district-wide. But while we had it open for construction, we went ahead and added those into the high school. Single sign-on, that will synchronize passwords for students so that every time they don't have to pause and log in, every time they utilize a different piece of software. If they are already logged into Google, it would synchronize on their Google password, and we are still looking at that. Mornet is developing a program right now, and that's kind of what we're on hold for. I would like to see what that looks like before we move forward. There are other programs out there, but Mornet is developing something right now that I'm anxiously awaiting. Cybersecurity, I've talked to you before, those phishing attempts, they do not stop. They are dangerous, and we purchased some software this year so that we can kind of test our staff. And we've sent out a few tests right now and piloted that to the tech team so that we didn't panic everybody. And that's going really well. We will, we'll probably do a few to maybe some summer school staff, hopefully they'll be wary. And then we'll full on next year will be, and so what happens is when you send out one of these test emails, they look legitimate. We get a report back in our office that says, here's who ignored it, here's who clicked on it, here's who who opened it, and here's who actually clicked on it. And if they click on something, it sends them a message immediately and says, this was sent to you by your Raleigh Public Schools Technology Department, here's some training on, and so it immediately does that. So we're hoping it's not to make anybody feel bad, but it's additional training that needs to happen. There's a lot at stake with doing that, monetarily and just virusing the network. So we're really, those do not stop. It's a safety and security issue. So those were our main priorities that we addressed this year. A lot of those are ongoing, and you'll see them repeated in the next slides, because I would like to, that was my review, but I'd like to tell you what we're looking forward to for next year. So again, we're going to continue to tweak that district website and mobile app. Building security never goes off the radar. We're always, and it's not just cameras. There are anything that's identified, we try to address. And again, that survey, hopefully will let us know what, how we've got that covered, where we need to go with those additional items. Cybersecurity, just mentioned it. We didn't get to the single sign-on because I'm waiting for Mornet's program. We are going to replace the network copier fleet this summer. That's about 30 copiers. That'll be some configuration, implementation, computers changing, drivers, as well as just training for our staff. You'd think that copiers aren't as difficult as they are, but about when you install 30 new ones, there's a little bump. We will be purchasing a new content filter. That is in accordance with the federal government. There's something called CIPA, Children's Internet Protection Act, and we are required by law to filter any internet traffic that comes in and out, or comes out or in of the district. But there's some new tools with content filter that's not just it's not just the internet filter part. There are safety. So it's safety monitoring. We're testing it right now. It's in a demo mode upstairs, and we've had a couple, we have students who are doing some research-based projects on suicide. And it gave us an email alert that there were students that were searching for that. And then we can send that to the building principal and let them determine what's going on and if it's something that needs to be addressed or not. But there's certain tag words that it's looking for, so there's a safety component to these new network content filters, as well as we're looking at one that has a classroom monitor, so specifically for Chromebooks. So we would love to have our teachers up walking around knowing what's happening on 30 screens all at once, but we know that that's not always the case. So as they're lecturing, the teacher has the ability through this content filter to lock the screens, to monitor them, and it kind of rotates through. You can focus in on one student if you've got somebody that you know you need to watch. So this content filter is very robust and has different pieces to it, specifically more than just internet filtering. That'll be happening this summer. And then again, our ongoing device replacement cycle of Windows Workstation, Chromebooks, and iPads. Chromebooks and iPads have a life of about 4 years to 5 years. We usually let them die before we replace them. But Chromebooks, Dr. Fulton has the original ones in her building. We noticed we're getting about 4 years out of them. So our device replacement cycle, those were the original ones. Next year we're in full-on replacement. So before it becomes an issue, we don't want teachers to not have access to the tools that they need. Again, these are from 2018. These are our ongoing goals that probably, those will stay on there for a long time. We're going to utilize those iTeach members that Brenda spoke about for several different things. We're going to have them work on digital citizenship, but also with some online tutorials. They'll also help us with the winter PD blast as well. So. And that is our year in review. Does anybody have any questions?
Are we to the point that you're not adding?
If we have to add, it will be very, very few. There might be 1 or 2 carts, depending on the budget, but really we're in the replacement cycle. And what I'm really worried about is purchasing equipment, and if we wait too long, what new tariffs might do to the equipment coming in from China, and it all comes from China. So we're going to see some lag time in delivery, as well as maybe a 15 to 20% increase in cost. So we've been having discussions in the finance department and with Dr. Zalis about what we can do to maybe get ahead of that a little.
What's going on?
Personally, I would like to say one real quick, that Brenda and I have worked together for about 20 years, and that is, I don't know that that's a long time. So Brenda has been, we've been partners for a long time, day to day, good and bad, ups and downs, and we will miss you very much. And she is, most importantly, she is my friend and a coworker, but most importantly, my friend. And everybody, I think, who retires, I've always heard, one of these days, you know,
I know.
everybody always says, I want to leave the place better than how I found it. And you can rest assured that you have. And Christopher and Jeannie will be able to carry on this mantle. I am very, very confident in their skills as well, but Brenda, we will miss you very much. So, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ginger.
I also wanted to, this is my last school board. I don't know how many school board meetings I've done like this. I've lost count. It just runs together. But, really our team has grown because of your support. And when I talk to other school districts, I always tell them we excel because of the support of you believing in our technology training. When you put new equipment out there, that's how it all started years ago. For those of you who are new, is we put me in place because we knew that if you just put equipment in classrooms and you do not provide teachers with the support that they need to do it, they will just sit there and collect dust, most of them. And so it is, a proud moment for us. That is why we do, and other school districts look upon what we do, but it's because of our whole Bulldog Nation, and you guys are a huge support of us, and we thank you for that, and I thank you for the years that you've allowed me to lead us.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys are gonna come, like say hi or something? Just hanging out?
Hang on. Moral support.
Well, Brenda, we'll miss you. We appreciate your hard work and your enthusiasm and your problem solving, and we'll go on and on. We just really appreciate you. We will miss you. All right, so I guess we're going on to bids. Is that you, Dr. Dare?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
If you want to look over on page 51A, first is roofing project bids. We have 4 projects that we bid, Truman, Mark Twain, Rolla Middle School, and Rolla High School. Those are roof sections. These were in the buildings and grounds budget. We only received 1 bid, so our recommendation is Blackjack Roofing. But they were a little higher than we were anticipating, but they're in line with the project. So.
We've used Blackjack before, too.
We have,
Had
yes,
good
yes,
luck.
and they've done great work for us.
Right. I'll make the motion to accept the bid from Blackjack.
Second that.
Any discussion or questions for Dr. Dare? All in favor of approving the bid project for the re-roofing, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And then,
On 51B, you'll see our latest gas and diesel bid. Recommendation there is Ozark Mountain Energy. They were the low bid.
I make a motion, we accept the low bid.
Who are we using now?
We use for fuel bids, we bid it, every time we buy, we bid it, and we usually generally take the low bid.
Okay.
I'll second.
thank you. Any other question or discussion for Dr. Dare? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Board of Education future issues, June 6th is our next meeting, and June 28th, we'll have a short morning meeting to approve necessary financial things. And then July 11th and August 8th. I believe all those are already approved, so I don't think there's an action there. Okay, on to old business. FY19 budget amendment. Mrs. Atkinson, come on down. We'll present. That's right. Budget update.
Okay, the budget document, updated budget document, and summary and detail that's following it can be found starting on page 52 of your board packet. On the screen here, I have a summary of the summary of fund balances that is in your board packet. Thought that might be a little helpful for the viewers at home. So as usual, the majority of the adjustments have taken place since the last budget amendment update were simply transfers between funds or function object codes in order to purchase items from the correct account code. A few items of note, the amounts that we have budgeted for our current building trades project and the lot for our next project, so that's 1211 Ella and 1217 Britt Lane, have been removed from the budget and are now being reported on the monthly financial statement as an asset. That change is due to DESI accounting guidance for building trades projects that are ultimately for resale. So once those properties are sold, the corresponding revenue will come on, the profit rather will be reported as revenue, and the asset will then come off of the balance sheet. So right now on the financial statement that you saw at the last board meeting, the expenditures that we have had so far, basically just for the purchase of the property on Ella, I did a journal entry to move those as an asset. I'll journal entry all the expenditures for the Britt Lane property at the end of this fiscal year. Right now, there's too many open encumbrances and all that, so I'm gonna do it all at once at the end of the year, so that will come off of the expenditures, go on as an asset, so. Again, that's due to DESI guidance. As Mrs. King mentioned earlier, we did have a discussion this week regarding how can we best plan ahead for purchasing technology items in light of the recent tariffs that are going to go into place. So she had found in her budget that had not yet been spent in this fiscal year. In addition, there were other areas in our current year budget that I was able to move money from into her budget to allow us to purchase a considerable amount of technology, Chromebooks, and projectors out of this year's budget, and then correspondingly reduce what we had initially discussed in her budget for next year. So those transfers are in there. And just to kind of recap our original budget, we projected an ending fund balance of 23%. I'm now budgeting for 23.65% ending fund balance. Are there any questions on any of the transactions? There's a lot of them this time.
Any questions for Mrs. Atkinson? Okay, we need a motion to approve the FY19 budget amendments as presented.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you.
And actually, while I'm up here, I'm going to give you a little bit of an update on our insurance. As we said a couple of board meetings ago, that our health insurance and ancillary benefits have been out to bid. Dr. Dare and I met this morning with Mr. Scott and Mrs. Grieven from BPJ to go over those. We are really, really pleased with what has come in so far. So at this point, I had initially said, again, at the preliminary budget discussion, a budget increase to the premiums of 12%. We're backing that off to anywhere between 5 and 8%. So we're going to discuss that further on Monday afternoon, Dr. Zalas, myself, and Dr. Dare, to come up with an exact amount for budget. We'll have a recommendation for you at the July board meeting. We'll know more mid-June. The insurance companies will not lock in the rates that we were presented with today until they have data through the end of May for our claims data. So that's currently where we stand, so I'm really pleased to be able to say that.
Don't anybody go to the doctor this month.
That's right, please. Let's have a good May.
Wisely said by an insurance agent.
Yeah. Any questions on our
Dr.
insurance or
Creedy might not
anything?
agree with that.
Yeah, I disagree with.
Can Dr.
Well, that's some good news, Kim.
Yeah, can Dr. Dare and I, or I
That
answer
is
any
good
questions regarding that at this time? Thank you.
You might have some questions when you get to July, though, yeah. You'll just have lots of answers for us. All right, long-range facility and program update. Dr. Dare and Dr. Zalas will discuss our planning update.
All good.
Somebody.
Had Myra put up just the timeline, because this week we launched the survey, thanks to work of Mrs. King, Mrs. Zervos, Christopher, I guess. Jeannie didn't have any part in that. Dr. Dare. The survey to the internal staff. You saw the screencast and that first, and then we sent it out to the entire district staff. And the whole purpose of the survey, so I just wanted to reacquaint you with the timeline that we had shared with you several months ago. So we're still where the yellow arrow is, and we'll continue to stay there, moving our way over. You can see April 2020. So I was asked earlier, how long will the survey stay out? Well, it'll stay out till we start to see a lack of response, and we're going to launch via school messenger the survey to our parents and whomever we can shortly after we reiterate that to the staff on Tuesday at the end of the school year breakfast. So far, we've got 130 some responses, maybe more now, but that was as of yesterday. Still cleaning up a few things that people find, still taking input from people that will take the time to look at it. It seems so far to be pretty good, and people have an interest in it. Some focus groups that we've shared it with have been the core board. We've shared it with the Chamber Education Committee, the Chamber Ambassadors. Those folks will continue to get kind of a handheld version of how to go through that, and it's just a matter of whether they'll completely engage. And in that feedback, what we're really looking for are the comments that are made, and because we realize internally that people are going to go to the building that they're in and really have an interest in that. But the comments are pretty telling as well. And really the whole purpose of this is to get the concepts in front of people so we can narrow it down, then really start to talk about what level of support in the community do we have for those projects. So it's not one that has any cost related to it yet. It's a scope and design and concept. What do you think about the ideas first? And then move from there. So we'll continue to do that through the summer and do that through the early fall, and then start to close and in on a couple things. I would envision through a work session, kind of follow that timeline. It'll be tweaked a little bit. Working toward January, where we have to make a decision whether we're going to do anything in the April 2020 ballot. By that time, we'll know the scope of the projects and what the financial implications of those might be with some work from patron insight. So really pretty excited about the survey, really appreciative of the work, all the work that's gone into that. We've texted a lot, emailed a lot, run up down the hallway, responding to people, what they have to say, and I think we've kind of settled in. So happy to answer any questions. And Dr. Dare, I know, has been to a couple places and talked about it too, particularly with the music department. So maybe you can share.
Yeah, well, just again, I think the key is trying to focus on the concept idea. It's real easy to want to get deeper in the weeds and get into the details, but trying to stay on that conceptual level of just, is the idea solid and something we want to pursue? Looking forward, we have some more parent groups and some things that we potentially are going to be able to present at soon. I think that'll be a great opportunity to get that information out, talk through it.
Great.
And last time I said RD was quite technical, and he can do it, and he wasn't listening, so I'm going to say it now. I'll send you the link, and we'll walk you through it, okay?
Aaron, your screencast was well done.
It's excruciating to do a screen.
We couldn't tell that. We couldn't see. I never saw a
Because
picture
you
of it.
can't see me, but, yeah.
I watched it. I thought you did a great job.
Yeah, thank you. Gina, it's all Gina.
And the survey in its final form, I thought it went through very, methodically. Didn't get lost, able to find your way back. So
Good.
I think it's splitting it up helped. I think
That's
a lot.
Ginger and Gina. Guys.
Yeah. So I know it was time. I think it'll be worth it. So
Now we'll just wait and see what we get.
I think there were 180 responses when I looked at it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll hit the staff pretty hard on Tuesday at the breakfast. I plan to really challenge them to make sure they get it done and then become versed on what those things mean. And when someone asks them in the community, then they'll be able to answer from an educated perspective. I think that's important. And we'll get Lauren involved in that early too. So I'll send you the link before you leave here tonight.
Thank you.
Okay?
Dr. Zelos, do you also plan on going to do this with the support staff?
Yes.
So that, because a lot, I know that's a very important part.
Yeah, well, when I sent the all email, all support staff that have email have it.
Great.
So that's most of them, almost all of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, typically when we do presentations over transportation or with maintenance, we actually bring them in a room and
Yeah, I
walk
think
them
that's
through it.
good because, that's a lot of people that work for our school district that anything positive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Happy to answer any questions. No. Yeah, my mother's at a board meeting, so Dr. Dare, I think, I don't know why she's here, but. Appreciate you being here, Mom. Need all the support I can get.
Hi, Mom. Does she want to come take a picture?
No.
Moms like to take pictures.
Yeah, we're actually having an intervention here, and we didn't tell you.
We didn't. All right, anything else on long-range facility program planning? Okay, very good. Lauren, I'm sure there's lots going on, right?
So the school year is winding down, so this will be my last update for a little while. So at the end of every year across the district, we have lots of end-of-the-year events. So those are things like field trips, field days at some of our elementary schools. I think the middle school's having something. End-of-the-year assemblies. Every school is going to have an assembly with awards, and it's going to be a fun time. And then all of our clubs are winding down for the year. I just went to an end-of-the-year party for a debate club today. And then also today was the beginning of finals week at the high school. So if you happen to visit, kids might seem a little frazzled, but promise we're okay. We're getting through it. So in the world of sports, we still have some sports going on. Our track team is going to sectionals this Saturday. And our girls soccer team, I'm very proud of them. They won their district competition last night against Camden, I believe. And then on Tuesday, they're going to compete for sectionals against Union. And then graduation is coming up. Very exciting. I unfortunately won't be there, but I'm hoping all of you can go. So that's going to be on Sunday at 2 o'clock. And what's the Gail Bowman? I was going to say I didn't want to be wrong. Okay. And then our seniors have already left us for this school year, but their last day was Monday. And that was their senior activity day, and I think they all had a really good time. They got to go on a picnic at Berwan Park. They watched Endgame for 3 hours. And then something that was really exciting, our seniors all got on buses, and they went back to their old elementary schools.
That's so cute.
Yeah, they loved it. And they got to go say hi to all the kids there and make all the little kids excited to go to high school and graduate, so that was really nice. And then also that Monday on the senior activity day, the seniors had their scholarship awards night where all of our local scholarships were awarded. So congratulations to all of those seniors. And then middle school is having their talent show. They had their talent show today, and I think they're having their yearbook signing and their dance. It says on Monday, but that's right. Okay. And then, thank you. And then junior high is having their awards assembly tomorrow. And then school is going to be over very soon, but then don't worry because there's summer school. So summer school is going to be June 8th through 28th. And then also something very cool that I'm doing this summer, I'm going to be taking summer school online. So some kids are still going to be doing that. And then over the summer, I don't know what everybody's doing. I think there's some cool trips going on. I think French Club, or not, the French kids are going to France. I think there's a trip there this summer. I didn't write them all down, but kids are...
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, the kids are going off on trips and working, and I don't know. But we're all excited for summer, so yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we know, is the sectional game Tuesday, is it here or is it in Union? Do we know?
I think it's at Union.
I think it's a,
Okay. Just curious.
we're all thinking we don't know.
What's mission?
I'm looking. You may know. Okay, thanks, Lauren. There are written reports to review and some dates to remember. Anything else before we adjourn?
Myra, hey, just a reminder, I will not be here next meeting.
Or will I? That is correct. I will be at the planning meeting,
The agenda setting?
agenda setting meeting, yep.
Very good. Okay. I need a motion for adjournment.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Lauren, sure you email.
Woohoo!
Yeah, get your mitts off of those.
She's gonna take it out.
Hey, RD?
I might get somewhere.
RD?
Well, I think
You have an email address?
gonna go, and then,
Nothing.
be my
I went to the